A handful of flashcards. I'm gonna take this baby on a road trip and see what it can do. Woohoo!
I have to be honest, I've worked in North America for many, many years, so I have a huge group of friends. I know locations very well, so I could already make a visual path of what we wanted to do. But the main point was to bring adventure together with an experience of doing nature photography. And here you actually see the overview of the entire film. Now, in the top line you see that scene that you remember with the sled dogs. How did we do it? You have to basically imagine me holding down the pack of sled dogs on the sled with the brakes on. In one hand I have a VHF talking to the pilot saying, hold on, do one more circle. And then he says, okay, I'm coming perfect, right on. And I'm saying, okay, I let the dogs go. And so the dogs go, the pilot's coming with the airplane above. All of this had to be perfectly timed in that dusty feeling. We only had 2 opportunities at doing so, while at the same time my brother is in the bush waiting with the crane, so when I'm racing by, then the crane is going up and we had to use one double to run the other sled dog. So this is how it worked. We often had to go back and forth, but let me show you that scene again. Then, of course, the wildlife, that's something very dear to me. This is who I really am, a nature photographer that loves doing wildlife as well. And I think that was part of the reason that we couldn't just do that as this huge production team, because there's a lot of delicate time waiting out there, just the 2 of us out there, in order to capture one moment like this one we had with this wolf.
And then it finally comes closer, and your heart starts to race.
Now, we of course looked at the camera and saw it's probably the most versatile camera out there as an all-round camera, I think. Because if I were to take only one camera out in the field, this is the perfect compromise between frame rate, 24 megapixels, the time-lapse function, f8 autofocus, so all of these things come together. And so I think this is really, really ideal. And in this road trip, we wanted have people see themselves in it and say, you know what am I doing in front of the computer? I gotta get out there and shoot.
It took us on an amazing journey.
Then this camera now has a time-lapse function that's never been the case before in a model like this. And what's really wonderful about it is basically you run the time-lapse and at the end of it you press the play button and you immediately see the time-lapse that you just created. Now some super professional time-lapse people could say, you know what, I'm going to do that through timer or interval shooting anyway, but that's actually an amazing tool to see how fast are the clouds moving, am I doing the right kind of a movement and so on. So even for those who do it on a different level, this was for me like really an eye-opener how easy it can be, and we were so excited. Now a lot in this video you see, we made it look all really easy and fun. We worked so hard. We never slept at night. We were trying to do the time-lapse at dusk and dawn. We wanted to shoot amazing light. So it was a really tough job. How tough was the camera? Nikon has already the, well, in a way, a little bit the name for being tough, being really sturdy, and we thought, why not really push the camera really to its limit? And we did that. in Alaska and that in wintertime.
And is it getting warm in there?
This camera was out all night, it's completely frozen, still working with live view and everything. I'm pretty excited about that. Pretty tough little camera.
So forgive me if I don't sound too excited. We really we're freezing our butts off out there. And by the time in the morning, I was actually surprised that the live view still would work. And also doing the aerial shooting, we had to strap down this camera on the side of the wing. And that, of course, what really kind of brought the video to something that opened the space and opens your mind. And that was really important for us to close the video with that. We worked with a friend of mine, a pilot, and take a look. And also, I'm going to show now another little sequence from the making of video, so you can also later on just watch the whole thing. Now that's a really tiny little two-seater airplane, and it was we squeezed the three of us in there. In the closing shot, just a little background there. You have to imagine we had to hit the record button, and then my brother and I are running with our snowshoes. Again, you know, waiting that the pilot is coming right at that perfect moment. We had 2 loops we could do as the sun was still at the horizon. We had carefully scouted that opening in the mountains that seemed like a gate, so we would have that feeling of openness into the landscape. And here, take a look. For my brother also, the flying in Alaska, that was definitely one of the most amazing aspects of the whole trip.
The highlight of Alaska really was the flying.
Yeah, we spent over a week with my bush pilot friend Ken, and he's quite the pilot. It was extremely hard to attach the camera in a way that it wouldn't vibrate because the whole plane is really shaking.
Put an object in here that will sandwich it that way.
So this is the 4th test run, and hopefully the last one. And luckily the last test run did work out.
The shot we most dreamt about finally came together.
So thank you so much for coming, for your attention. If you have any other questions, I'm here for you too.